Good afternoon, everybody. Duke here, Blue Tar Peel. It's Wednesday, having a great day today. Got to spend most of the day with Hunnabun at the house and getting stuff done around there. And just recently showed up on the property and just wanted to do a video today on, of course, sowing and reaping, which I've done before, and also reflect back onto a lesson that was learned about 40 plus years ago. So at any rate, we are at the cornfield, and a lot of y'all had probably seen the video that I did where I had the earthway planter out. It was a couple months ago. I had the earthway planter out, and I was going to build this cornfield, and we had, put so much effort into this thing and, picked about 50 ton of rock out of it and tilled it. And, prior to all that, it was a thick forest, so we had to timber it all out. And, it was just a year ago, you couldn't walk through it. And now, some of y'all say, here's our cornfield, Hunnabun cornfield. So over here we have the ambrosia corn. And as you swing over, you can see the height difference right there. That's the silver queen. Ambrosia matures a little bit quicker. So what I want to do is let's just take a walk through the cornfield. It's kind of cool, right? So here we go. Watch your step, people. It's actually pretty cool. I will say that, the wildlife's getting to it a little bit. I can see where the deer are starting to come in, and probably a couple raccoons, and seen a big old groundhog the other day, so he's probably in there. This is Silver Queen, and just to show you, that corn's getting there. It's not quite there yet. From what I'm told, when that starts browning up pretty heavy, it's time to pick. And we got it all coming in, so what we're picking right now is the ambrosia. This cornfield's about 90 feet by 90 feet. And I said in the bed, boy, look at those. Look at that here. Look at that. Boy, what the heck? That's going to be cool. So I said in the beginning of this whole cornfield that that was cool. I like walking through the cornfield. I said in the beginning of this cornfield that if I got one ear of corn out of this, I would be tickled to death. And, we did anticipate that the wildlife was going to get to some of it. But just to get one ear, that's all I wanted. I couldn't tell you how much money I sunk into this. We picked rock for a month on this. It took, to clear this whole orchard and stuff. In the cornfield, it took over a year. And then whenever I finally got the plan for the cornfield, like I said, we picked rock for a month and, cutting and pulling all the roots out. We burned in here and everything else. And, first year planting on the mountain, the law of sowing and reaping, right? You do the right thing. You put in the effort. You sow a good seed and you expect a good harvest. And, we didn't cut any corners on it. We did the best that we could with it. And look what I was blessed with. So God is good. So always plant a good seed in life. And it's not always going to work out. But you don't worry about that. What you worry about is not cutting corners, planting a good seed. And even if you don't get a good harvest, it's okay. You don't blame nobody. Just do what you're supposed to do. And that's, do the right steps. And whether that seed is a corn seed or any other seed out there, or the seed from the tongue, right? Always plant that good seed. So, to the life lesson. As I mentioned, about 40 years ago, I grew up in ag field in Pennsylvania, and I was approached probably when I was between the ages of 10 and 13, somewhere in that range, by a gentleman by the name of Greg Langley. and he was a son of Mr. Langley, of course, and they had, ag fields all over, and cornfields and hay fields. And he came to me when I was a young kid, and he said, "Hey, would you mind helping out on the cornfield?" And I said, "Oh yeah, absolutely, man." I was, Fridays and Saturdays I was hitting the mall and hitting the arcades or roller skating rings or whatever it was. So I'm sitting there thinking, "Hey, man, I can find a way to make some money." So yeah, I'm all for it. At that time I was probably about 100 pounds soaking wet at best, and they came for working the hay fields. I remember my mom packing me a little lunch, and I got up and got my jeans on and my flannel shirt, and I was up probably 5 o'clock. I was excited, man. I was excited to go, throw hay up on the hay wagon. Cool. So I got up 5:30, whatever it was, every time Dad was going to work, and as soon as it turned a little bit daylight, I went down the road, and it wasn't no subdivision. We lived hundreds of yards from the neighbor, if not quarter mile, and we had a little bus stop down there where all the kids would get picked up from school. And I went down to that bus stop, and I sat there and I waited. I was waiting for that tractor to come to pick me up to go throw hay on the wagon, and it just seemed like eternity. And I remember the wagon coming up, and they picked me up, and we went out into those fields, and we threw straw all day long. I mean, all day long. And anyone that's worked a cornfield, or I'm sorry, not a cornfield, a hay field, it's real good for about the first half hour, and then that day just like never ends, right? So at the end, young and was excited about it. I mean, it was, I guess you could officially call that one of my first jobs. And at the end, I was kind of hanging out there by the hay wagon and, getting ready to walk on back home. There was nobody drove me down there. We walked, and remember Greg Langley coming up to me and handing me my pay. And my pay was a brown paper bag, and inside that brown paper bag was 6 ears of corn. And I'm going to tell you, I was like, "Oh, are you kidding? This dude just paid me with 6 ears of corn? Are you kidding me? Come on. How in the heck am I supposed to play Space Invaders with 6 ears of corn?" And but I took the corn, and obviously I didn't backtalk, and I went home with that corn. And my mom and dad wasn't real pleased with the way it all went down, and I obviously wasn't. Don't think I ever went to work for him again, but a lesson learned that, to me, that was not good. I was expecting $5, $10, $20, whatever it was, 25 cents would have got me 15 minutes on Space Invaders. But an ear of corn? You kidding? So, I've told that story to my family a couple hundred times. It has sat with me for 40 years about how I got paid. When people sit there and say, "Oh, I ain't making enough money," or, "Oh man, I got $100 in the bank." Are you kidding? My first job officially, I got paid with corn. But now, as we come across, we've been pulling the ambrosia corn out, and here's that 6 ears of corn, guys. Yeah, there it is, 6 ears. They're beautiful ears. This is ambrosia corn, and I think back, to the last year of getting to this point. This is the third time that I pulled out of this field. The first time I pulled, I think 4 ears. Yesterday I pulled 9. Today I pulled 13. And there's a few in there that I could probably pull, but I'm going to leave them go. I mean, me and Shirley can't eat 13 ears that quick, So over the next week or so, it should keep on getting mature and pull it off. But I look back on those, that corn. It's corn, guys. It's just corn. You know, there it is. Just corn. Not a big deal, right? What, 25 cents, 35 cents, upwards of $1 an ear. But hat off to the farmer on these, big crops. I mean, if anyone realized what goes into prepping that land and sowing that good seed sometimes, it's difficult to imagine the financial and the mental strain to get, that much corn done, and, looking back on it, to me, that 6 ear of corn 40 years ago was a letdown on that day. All these years later, at 6 ears of corn is like one of the best things that could be happening right now. I mean, that's awesome. See, I grew my own corn on a freaking mountain. Are you kidding? Who would not be excited about that? So the other night we were eating some of the corn up, and I'm sitting there saying, oh my gosh, Honeybun and I both were sitting there saying, oh my gosh, this is so good. I can't believe we grew our own corn. Can you do this? It's cool. And it's not a, guys, look, I mean, that's not a cheesy cornfield. That's a beautiful looking cornfield. I mean, it's awesome. And to get the fruit of your labor, oh my gosh, it was awesome. And she looked at me and she said, I guess, that pay of the 6 ears of corn 40 years ago, even though it didn't mean much to me, that could have been $50, $100 worth of corn to that farmer. I wasn't there when he planted the seed. I wasn't there when he filled the tank on the machine up with diesel. I wasn't there wondering if it was going to rain and if the fertilizer was right. And not only was I blessed with 6 ears today, but we went 13 ears, and I did peel one back, so that's the ambrosia corn. It's a multicolor corn. I can tell you, I've already eaten quite a bit of it, and it's wonderful. But my point is, sometimes people put a value on things without looking at the big picture. And I want to take a minute out of this day, and I don't know if old Greg Langley's still alive or not, but I want to thank him for giving me and my mom and dad in those days such a wonderful gift. The fruit of the labors. So, like I said, I don't even know where I'm going with that, other than to know that we took a seed and did all the right things and be blessed, with this. And then to be blessed with that. Not to mention, yesterday I pulled, half a dozen peaches off the tree, and I'm telling you guys, they're big as my fist. Perfect, no blemishes. I ate one up here and threw the seed down. Just juicy and everything. I pulled blueberries and everything else, and I know I come off crazy sometimes, but a lot of people probably can't quite figure me out, and that's fine. But the value I put on corn and everything else that I'm doing, money can't buy that stuff. Money cannot buy that reward that's received from the law of sowing and reaping. So at any rate, I appreciate you watching. Love the cornfield. I'm definitely going to love the corn. Beautiful day up here on the mountain. A little hazy. We did have a storm come through. But at any rate, there you go. I appreciate you watching. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, Blue Tarpeel, Life on the Mountain, give us a like, send it on a share, and enjoy your day. We appreciate you, and God bless you.